Building wealth, even through real estate, is often considered stressful. We're going to consider how you can actually thrive emotionally, spiritually, relationally, even while building great money assets.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
This is another exciting time where we get to welcome you to a Life's Inside Track episode. I'm Yetta Dekker.
And I'm Ken Dekker.
And it's where we get to share techniques, thoughts, tips, tactics, and tools, and some strategies that we all need, we all deserve, you, I, everyone, so we can turn our house into home, our families thrive, and we build wealth wisely through real estate. This one's kind of an intriguing one because, again, it's this whole month, it's about becoming. Who do we need to become so that we can have the things that we want to have and yet thrive in it? And there's such an emotional connection. It's way beyond the bank account. It's way beyond qualifying for the investment property. Because even when we financially qualify, often, when I say we, I mean people, they are stressed out. And that means their emotional state isn't in alignment with the thing they want to do with their money. Their bank account works, but they're not working soundly or emotionally well with their bank account. We've been there.
Yeah.
We've done investments that created more stress than we know what to do with. Yeah. And it was unnecessary. And the reason it happened for us is we were living and working outside of one or both of our belief systems.
That's 100% true.
So help people, like, what creates that stress? What creates that situation where emotionally we're being depleted through a real estate investment, even when the long-term game looks great?
Yeah. Well, I think I would even want to start with, backing up a little bit and around what stops people from doing it in the first place.
Oh, that creates the stress even before they can get started?
Right.
Trouble. Danger.
Will Robinson?
Yeah. Fear. The horror stories, the stuff that's out there that people talk about. It creates stress even before you write a contract. Even before you go look at your first property, people are feeling often freaked out because they've heard about this person, that person. And it's not to say, let's be real, there are some nasty horror stories. They exist. And what I know, there are very few compared to success stories. But you know what the struggle is with the success stories?
No, what's the struggle?
Most people would keep them under wraps. Now, even this week, we were on a training with our staff, with our team at Solid Rock Realty, about 120 realtors available to be on the calls with us a couple times a week that are at Solid Rock Realty with us. And you had a great conversation.
I did.
Tell us about it.
Well, we were doing our touch base call, and basically, agents were saying, what do I say when someone says they're afraid of investing? And I said, well, that's perfect because many, many people are afraid of investing. And it's find out what they're afraid of. And is it, and so some of the things that people were bringing up were like the tenant board does not do a very good job at supporting landlords. They're way more in favor of the tenant.
There's truth to that.
There's truth to that. It's harder these days to get a tenant out if they're not paying or they're abusing the property. So there's truth to that. And several other things. And I said, well, first of all, 99% of the problems can be solved by your tenant selection. Who you pick in the first place makes a big difference. And that's all on you. And I said, you got to do your credit checks and your reference checks. And if they have a history of paying on time, whether it be their phone bill, their hydro bill, their rent, whatever it is, if they have a history of paying on time, that's not to say that, bad things can't happen to good people, good-willed people, where they lose a job or they lose their health and they suddenly can't pay. That's not what I'm not talking about that very rare situation. I'm talking about people that just don't bother paying or have bad habits that they would rather buy something else than pay their rent.
All right. Okay,
Then-
so tenant selection. You're going on a lot about this one little thing.
I know I am. It's an important piece. Then I said to one of the people on the call, I said, you have a rental property.
And she's a single woman
Mhm.
with a couple of kids
Yeah.
doing it all on her own,
Yeah.
right?
And she's doing very, very well. And I said, tell me about your tenant situation. And she said, well, the property is right across the street from me. It's very easy to manage. My tenant's been there 6 years. She's a great tenant. I said, oh, does she pay on time? Every month she's on time with the payment. And she said, the other day she called me and said the tap was leaking. It wasn't working on the kitchen. So I ran out with the boys. We tried to buy Canadian, tried to find a Canadian store and a Canadian made faucet. We found one. We called the handyman. He picked it up and installed it. In like 20 minutes, he installed this. The tenant was elated. And that's how easy it was.
Right. So being a good quality landlord is also what I heard in this story, right?
Mhm.
Not delaying an easy action. It's not only tenant selection, it's how do you then navigate? So the reality is Ken then asked, who knows what's going on for this woman? Who knew that she had a rental property and who knew that she was thriving and that her equity has gone up multiple times since she purchased the property, and how easy it is because she chose the right location. She took into the right considerations.
Yeah. So I asked her, how many people do you tell that story to? And she said, 0. I don't tell anybody about that. And
About the good side.
Yeah. And then
But
I
the
said,
upside.
okay, now if you have a problem tenant and they destroyed your place or they don't pay the rent for 5 months or, you're struggling to pay your mortgage because of it, then guess what? They're talking about that. They're telling everybody because I don't know, like pain likes misery or misery likes company. Is that the saying?
Yeah,
Something
I
like
think
that.
so.
They like to spread that. But when people are having great success, it's more private. They kind of hang on to that.
Because we've had a lot of clients that have done incredibly well, and some have been on these Life's Inside Track episodes, and you'll be able to see some where the clients have felt comfortable to get out there and share with people how well they are doing with using their seed money once and buying multiple properties, right? Building one down payment and then allowing that money to work for them. We have lots of those stories.
I know.
The vast majority of clients I ask, what do they say?
No, I don't. I won't go on the show. I won't talk about it. I don't want my neighbors, my friends, even my family to know how well I'm doing.
So there's limiting beliefs that get developed based on only hearing half the story.
Right.
And so what we know is to become the person that can gain wealth, you actually first must grow into it by shifting how you see it.
It is. And so if you are having fear-based thinking, or there's an old identity pattern that you don't deserve it, or that kind of thing, those are the things that we can interrupt and rewrite.
And it starts with a clarity call.
Pretty
quick, right?
Yeah.
Even this show may have helped you start to unpack some of those things and see it a little differently.
So you want to jump on our website, dekkerteam.com, and book a clarity call with us, because we love positioning people to build wealth wisely, especially in real estate, because it's about much more than just the money.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward